Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're all very welcome. It's Martin Kelly here with German Shepherd Dog Global Media, and again, bringing you our brand new series, Breeding the German Shepherd. My guest for this evening's podcast is someone who has had a lifetime involvement in the breed and indeed in dog showing. From the age of 13, when she started out assisting her parents in the family kennel, she has since gone on to forge her own path and her own legacy and gain world-renowned success and recognition for her talents as a breeder, a judge, and an exhibitor. She is a WUSV SV accredited judge, a member of the AGPA, and a Chormeister for the COAPA, but to name just a few of her qualifications. And she has used these to the benefit of many GSD exhibitors across the world as a result of through the benefit of her judging experience in countries like Mexico, India, the USA. In her capacity as a breeder, she's had equal success. She's had achievements such as the best kennel in Guatemala, a whopping 7 times. She's coupled this with a legion of VA titles, Grand Champion titles, Best in Shows, and Siegers and Siegerin titles to boot. Ladies and gentlemen, for this Breeding the German Shepherd podcast, I'm absolutely honored and overjoyed to welcome the founder of the Bellahausen Kennels of Guatemala, Mrs. Gabriela Labbe. Gabriela, thank you so much for joining us.
Martin, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled finally to be in your show.
Yes, we got there in the end, Gabriela.
Yes.
So, can you take us back to the beginning? Obviously, your foundations are more in the wider dog showing world, but can you tell us how you get involved firstly with that and then obviously with German Shepherds? You started out assisting your parents when you were a young kid in their kennels.
Yes. I've been like a pet lover since I'm a kid. My mom was a former breeder from the Dobermans. That's how I really started in the dog world. But there were no dog shows involved, just Dobermans, and my mom was like a very, very loving breeder. So I grew up with Dobermans. That's the story. They were not show quality, but I got the feeling of loving the puppies and the dogs with my mom in this kind of home breeding, right? Then at the age of 13 years old, my last Doberman died. And my mom said to me, said to us, because it was like a family thing, I want a German Shepherd. That's the breed that I always had when I was a little girl. So I want, again, a German Shepherd. So we start looking at the paper, the paper. And then there was like a litter there. We saw a puppy there. It was American type. I must say, in my country in that time, there was no specialty club really existing. It was forming. So we bought that puppy, and the responsible that we got into this world is the breeder of that puppy, because he made us sign a contract. He said to us, I'm going to sell you this puppy if you show him. Otherwise, you cannot get him. Okay, we didn't go to the show. Oh, the beginning of the end. We got so really, really crazy about the dog shows, because of course he won, thank God. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. So he won, and we got kind of crazy with these dog shows, all breed shows. And there was like 2 or 3 guys from the specialty association, in my country. They were beginning, and they were like searching people that loved the breed and could like join the specialty club. So they got to us and said to us, come join our club. We want to make a specialty club for shepherds. And so that's how it started. In about a year, my parents founded a kennel with 6 females, grown females, but in the other direction, so German type. So I learned that the dog that we were showing was not the right type of dog that we wanted to breed. So I got with him all the time. I went to the all breed shows, and because I love the all breed shows, so I went showing him, and I was junior handler, and it was really like my hobby dog. And on the other side, my parents founded this German Shepherd kennel with another view, so getting better German Shepherds in the country. So that's how I really started with my parents. Yes.
Perfect. And that kennel that made you sign the contract, they have a lot to answer for now. So we can blame them for all the good and the bad.
I mean, I think they don't exist anymore, but I'm thankful for him, because they made us sign this contract. And otherwise I wouldn't be here in this world. It's amazing how things like throw you to your path,
The rest, as they say, is history. And as then obviously start to get the more Germanic type. Who are those early days influencers for you when your parents and yourself start to progress more down the Germanic type of showing?
Well, the thing with me was, okay, I was in the German school, in my country, so I knew German from school, and I was all the time trying to read magazines or whatever it was from German shepherds, like the critique in German. I was always trying to interpret it, and so I was always trying to learn how to interpret the German critiques in Spanish. So in one day in one show came a German judge, and the people from the club said to me, "Why don't you interpret for him?" And I was so worried. I was like 13 years old, and I said to myself, "Okay, I will try because I could speak a little German, but like from school." So okay, I started like that, and I love him very much, and he passed away last year, Herbert Oster. He
Yes.
was the first German judge that came to us. I mean, in the time that I was in the club, and I was interpreting for him, and he said to me, and that was the thing that changed the whole view that I had in German Shepherds. He said to me, "Gabby, you should come to Germany and you practice your German language, and you can learn more about German Shepherds." So I said, okay, maybe he's kidding, And then, well, we got to get to know each other with letters because there was no WhatsApp, no internet. So we exchanged letters, and he said, always, "You're always welcome to come and to learn." So I said yes, and in the age of 17 years old, my parents let me go. So I went to Germany with him and with his family, and he took me to every show he could with him as an assistant. So, I cannot explain how that was a powerful experience for me, a learning experience. I got to meet there. I met Margit van Dorsen. I met Heinz Scherer when he was beginning to be a judge. Margit was not a judge when I met her. I met Christoph Ludwig also in the group, where they train. So he was there. All these people, that at the time were like young people and they were beginning. I got to meet them, and I learned a lot from Herbert. And he always said to me, "Gabby, you should be a judge." And I said to him, "Well, I will try. We'll see." So that's how it started and changed the view of the things. And always when German judges came to Guatemala, I was translating for them. And you can learn a lot inside the ring as a translator. So that's how it changed my view. I was always at the Albrecht shows all the time, but I was more into the shepherds and learning every time I could more about them. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And what sort of golden pieces of advice or lessons did Herbert teach you about breeding, about husbandry, about training dogs when you spent that time with them? Such an invaluable experience.
Well, yes, valuable experience for me. Well, he was a breeder, not a big breeder, He had like three females, because he was at the time when I knew him, he was traveling around the world. He was very famous as a judge.
Yeah.
So he didn't have much time to breed, but when I was there, he was like having two litters. So I learned a lot about how to breed them, Well, of course, I was doing that with my parents, but there were some tips that I could take from him. And of course, the learning experience is how to manage a big class, I could see, because in that time, it was 1987. There was a lot of dogs in the shows, not like today that we have less and less. So I could learn from him how to handle a big class and how to call them out. And, it was very nice experience. And also we went to different Kurungs, breed surveys. And the breed survey in a weekend, for example, it was like 80 dogs. So we did 40 one day, 40 the next day, and I was his assistant. And really, it was a huge learning experience. And then when we were in shows where there were another judges, he said to them, to his colleagues, he said, "Please bring Gabby to your side, so she can learn from you." Albert Platz was also there when I was, imagine, so long ago, that old I am. So I was there, I was like a little girl and trying to learn from the best, a memory that I have that is very valuable for me is the first show that Heinz Scherer judged
Yes.
was in Rhineland-Pfalz. and he was judging for his first time, and I was handling a dog from Herbert. And I remember clearly, he said in the microphone, "Congratulations to the little girl from Guatemala that come here to handle dogs." Oh, that was really a huge thing for me at my age.
Absolutely. To get such a shout out from such a legend of the breed now, it's
Yes,
amazing.
yes.
Yeah. And as you then grow and develop your knowledge base within the breed, what then makes you decide to become a breeder? Not necessarily just with your parents, but then obviously founding Bellahausen as well. What made you decide to forge your own kennel?
Well, the thing is that, well, my mom, she's a great breeder. I mean, from the things that I've learned from her, I mean, I owe her that because I was 13 years old when we got our first litter, and I was always with her in the birth with the puppies, and she showed me everything. She's like a veterinarian. Well, that was her goal when she was young, but she couldn't like study that. And I was really happy to learn how to raise a litter. But then I got married, and my mom has her ways and her point of view about breeding, and I was more like into championships and showing dogs. And I was in Germany. I think that changed a little bit my mentality. Then wanted to have a dog from my kennel that could go so far, like go into a big championship, So I got married, and thank God, with a husband that supports my hobby. So I said to myself, okay, I will go my separate ways without problems with my parents. She keeps breeding, she still breeds, but not in a competition world like I do, because it's very demanding. And I understand that she doesn't do that very much with, it's so strengthening, with stressful. I mean, that's the
Yes.
word. So I said to myself, I will go my way. And that's how I founded my kennel. And it's called Bellahausen. That's the mix of both of our names from my husband and mine. And so is how I started founding my kennel. And it was, I mean, if you think I was buying females, no, that's not. When I got married, I just wanted to have a German Shepherd at my house.
Yeah.
And I was fighting a little bit with my mom. That's a private thing, but I will share it to you, because I wanted to have the dog that I brought from Herbert Oster Kennel. He was I loved that dog, but
Yeah.
he was like the stud dog in my mom's kennel. And I said to her, please, mom, give him to me, and I'll bring him back to you every time you want to use him. But I love him. He's my dog. And she said no. And okay, I said, I was so sad. And I don't know, it was like a fate thing, He got poisoned from the neighbors the
Oh.
day before my wedding. It was so heartbreaking. I was crying the whole honeymoon. I was crying because of the dog. Yeah, so I wanted so bad to have something from that dog that I went, because my mom didn't have puppies from him. So I went to another breeder, a very, very respectful breeder here, Carlos Rivera in Guatemala, and I bought from him the last puppy of my love dog. So he sold it to me. He said to me, it's a normal dog, Gabby. I don't care. It's a male. I don't care. I just want a German Shepherd that comes from that line. It's like a thing, a sentimental thing. So I got him, and he was like my first German Shepherd at home. He was not like a big champion, but I gave that dog so much time, so much effort, that he was the best bite work in the country. He was really the nanny of my kids when I got kids. So he was like my pet. Also, he competed, but not in a so high level, because he was a normal dog, a perfect German Shepherd, but not a high quality. So, okay, then I bought another male. I was not planning on breeding really. I was not using really the head of a breeder. I was just like, when I saw a super puppy from Argentina that came to Guatemala, also with Carlos, and I said to him, I want that puppy. He's gorgeous. He's the kind of puppy I would love to be showing around the world, because he's so perfect in anatomy. And he said to me, okay, you can have him. I bought the puppies from him. And that's how I started involving my husband in it, because if you want this to work, you have to involve your family. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So I wasn't able to be the handler like I was in my parents' kennel because I was the handler of the dogs of my parents. So I said to him, you're going to become a handler and I'm going to call the dog because he was my dog. So I taught him how to handle the dog. And so we made like a team and we went and he won in Argentina. Pisa Seeger, it was like, wow, he was a great dog. He also won everything in Guatemala. So I started the feeling now I want a female.
Yes.
Then I want that, like it was like 5 years or something after I got those dogs, or 7 years, that I said to myself, okay, now I want to found a kennel and breed, and that's how I got my first female and got my first litter. But I already was like I don't know, 8 years or 9 years with dogs by myself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a lot of it seems to be fate and circumstance in the early years, Gabrielle. But once you got your female and you had your males there, what was the vision? What did you want Bella housing dogs to look like? And how did you then set about going to create that vision?
Yes, for me it was very important not only to breed for breeding, only make puppies. No, I wanted to breed competitive puppies with my kennel name. That was always my goal, that I could be proud to say this is a Bellahausen, and it goes to the shows and get like prizes and stuff. I was like looking for dogs for competition, not just for the house. So I got my first litter from this Argentinian male that Dick de la Luna Nueva was the name, with my female, and I was so excited. And the disappointing thing was it was just one puppy in the litter. So my first litter was one puppy. So I was, okay, let's see. It was a male, C-section for the female. And so it was not the beginning that everybody thinks is going to be.
That's a very stressful first.
Stressful beginning with just one puppy, the female with one puppy. She went around the garden with the puppy in the mouth. I was like, she's going to kill him. Well, she was a nice puppy, not the best one. So I sold him to a very nice friend of mine. Yeah. And, I kept wishing for another Bellahausen, litter that could be. So I got another female in the meantime, and I got a litter, was normal litter, and in my third attempt, then I got a little success. In my third attempt, when I got my the same litter from the A litter was the C litter in my kennel, and it was there when I got really success, because I had a very big litter, 10 puppies. I could raise them very well. And from the 10 puppies, 2 of them were really outstanding. They got the VA. Imagine that, with their third litter, VA in Guatemala. Then I went with them to Argentina, Siegerschau. That was for me like the reference, in America, Argentina. Siegerschau was the best, 100 dogs in a class in that time. And they got in podium, and they got really nice prizes. So for me, that was the beginning of having the kind of dog that I wanted. For me, anatomy was very, very important. So maybe they don't look all alike. The first, the homogeneity maybe was not the same in all the litters that I was starting to get. But I always kept and selected the dogs that were anatomy-wise, the best ones. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And now as a breeder, how do you ensure that your type, if I was to actually describe the Bellahausen type, what is it now, and how do you ensure you lock it in generation upon generation?
Well, I would say it's a selection. You have to select your dogs. Now that I know, because it's not from one day to another that you have clear the type of dog you want to breed. It's a learning experience from failures and for successes that you think, okay, this is the way. Sometimes you get the wrong way, and you have to recalculate, like like in the ways, when recalculating, you have to recalculate. But sometimes you think you're in the right path and you're not. So okay, now at first I had very nice anatomies, but no type, homogenic type at all. So I said I had some red and brown dogs, otherwise were a little bit not so strong pigmented. So I said to myself, okay, now I think I got more into not only, I don't leave the anatomy behind. I just want that they look alike. So I went with dogs that were more pigmented, were with more beautiful expressions, beautiful heads. I think that's a thing that I've been learning with the time, that it's a very important thing in the German Shepherd, the head, the expression, and the temperament. So I try to select, now that I know what I want and what I like. In these years, I've been learning that. So now I'm selecting the dogs that look alike, and they're more like what I want to be having in the future. So selection is everything when you're breeding.
Absolutely. And to that point, when you're looking at a possible mating combination now, whether it's you're taking your female to a male, whether you're bringing a female to your male, what are the most important things for you? Is it that lovely color? Is it the correct heads? Is it the overall anatomy? What do you look for in the two when you're looking at a mating combination, just purely from the anatomy perspective?
Yes, of course. At first, you have to see the female that you're mating. It's not always the same type of dog that passes to your female. But normally, for me, it's very important nowadays, with all the IGPs and all the things that the German Shepherd has to do, the character and temperament are things that it's not negotiable. That they have to be strong character. Also, the females that I keep to myself, they're not sometimes the most beautiful in the litter has not the strongest temperament. So I try to pick a balance in the litter when you have a nice female but very strong in temperament and colors that I like. And when I go to mate this female, I try to look for a partner that looks like her, in the type, because they say. Yes, because they say sometimes, compensation, the compensation. But compensation for me, sometimes it works, sometimes it could fire anywhere. So it's better to have two dogs that look very alike, so you can have more homogeneity, in the litter. And of course, anatomy is very important to me. There are some things that I don't like, and I don't care if the dog wins a lot or whatever. If he has the failures that I don't stand in the German Shepherd, like the back line has to be straight, it has not to be like loose hocks, and over angulations for me are the worst. With a short group or with a not so great angulation in the front, I could work with that. But other things like the straight back and the over angulation, I try to avoid that, because it comes back. It comes always back. So that's the type of dog that I look for my female, is that he looks like his brother of my female. You know what I mean? They have to match. And yes, if he has the temperament, and of course, I try to choose, because not always the VA1 is the one that is going to work for your female. So I try to choose between the dogs that always are not always winning, but in the front with good progeny. So I try to pick the best one for that female in particular. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And how much of it then, Gabriela, obviously that's from an anatomy perspective, but when you're researching pedigrees, how important is the blood family to you? Are there certain things in the pedigree you don't like to see? Like, do you look for example, if a male is a standout male in his bloodline, if the rest of his family are more ordinary dogs and he's the one star? Are these the type of things you look for in a pedigree, or what do you look for when researching the bloodlines?
Well, of course, you have to research the bloodlines, and thank God we have the Siegel to see the progeny groups.
Yes.
Because sometimes you have to check them out. You have to see how the dog produces in order to see what kind of bloodline you really like. Because, like you said, sometimes it's like one puppy in a litter that is amazing, and he doesn't have family. He doesn't have the strength of a bloodline. So I try to check, of course, the pedigree, but I have to see that the dog that I'm mating looks like his pedigree. Yeah. Sometimes they say, oh, he has such an amazing pedigree, but the dog is not a good dog. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if he has a great pedigree of champions and VAs and everything, if he doesn't look like that. He's going to bring to your puppies what he is. So I always check the pedigrees, of course. I always try to see what brings the bloodline. For example, there are dogs that brings strong character or very large bones. You have to see in the progeny group, you can see if he inherits his virtues more than his faults. So when I have the opportunity, because I don't have them every year, but I have the opportunity to go to German Siegerschau, I try to look the progeny group, not in the stadiums, in the entrance, when you
Yeah.
can see the dogs very, very, very near. So that's what I try to do when I get the opportunity to go to a cigar show. So, and I read everything, every report that's been in the magazine. Sometimes you cannot go, but you can read and you can talk to your fellows, on your partners, judges that were there, and they can tell you a little bit, because if you mate with a dog that he wins a lot, but he doesn't produces what he is, it doesn't bring you anything.
And on the point of progeny groups, when you're evaluating them, Gabriela, what are the core things you look for in a progeny group? Is it, a uniformity? Do they all look the same? Do they all have particular structural attributes that you look for? What's your criteria for saying that's a really nice progeny group, that's a mixed progeny group, that's maybe not so good a progeny group?
Sometimes you have a dog that inherits his virtues more than his faults. That's very important for me. But there's not a perfect dog. It's very difficult to have a perfect dog. But sometimes you have dogs that you say, okay, maybe he's not the super dog that I would love to have, but he inherits more his virtues than his faults. So that's what I see. If there are more virtues in the group than his faults. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so then to fast forward a bit for anyone who's maybe new to breeding or thinking about getting the breeding program going, you have your male, you've checked his progeny group, you're happy, you've mated him to your female, you've puppies on the ground. How do you assess puppies for potential as show puppies, potentially working puppies? Do you have certain markers that you assess them by? So do you assess them at 8 weeks and at 6 months and at 10 months? And do those markers of assessment change for you, or is it the same the whole way through?
Well, I try to be, I'm like a present breeder, I would have to say. I'm in the whole process all the time. I mean, since the day I go to the mating, if I have to drive or if I have to fly to Germany or to whatever, I go myself. I don't send my female. So I'm there from the beginning. So I assist the birth all the time. I'm there. So I started to look at the puppies since the moment they were born. They are born in my hands, so I can check everything. I'm always there, like looking. For example, when they're born, days of life, I can be sure that they're strong, good pigment, strength, everything that you can start seeing. Then but I really look when they start like moving themselves, like getting up. You can start looking at anatomy. It's people say you're crazy, it's too soon, you cannot see a thing. But I try to be a lot of hours. I spend a lot of hours in the litter room with the female and the puppy, so I can start seeing. So and wishing, and then from 5 to 6 weeks, that's where I put my mind and my time in assessing the puppies. With 5 to 6 weeks, 6.5. Why? Because they can move at that age very well. So you can see like a miniature of the puppy in the puppy of the dog he's gonna be. And I can assure you that because I've been taking pictures in the puppies that I keep. So with 6 weeks, and then I repeat almost the same picture when they're like 12 months, 15 months, and they look really alike. So I pick the puppy from 5 to 6 weeks. I see them going. I see the temperament. That's very important. You can see that sometimes you have puppies that they're so liveful and they bite and they're really great in temperament, and also they can trot. The movement for me is more important than stacking a puppy. Trying to stack him, it's worthless because you can make him look like a VA, when he's little, but when he moves, there you can see. So then I stopped watching because with 3 months, it's a terrible age. 3 months, 3.5. Yes, horrible. I don't see them. I try to say to myself, I picked him for something. So I try not to see him. And then with 5 months, 5.5, you can see again what you picked. Yeah. That's an age that I see them again. I check again, okay, he's going in a good path. I'm still keeping him. So then after the 6 months, I don't see them anymore because they get in a very horrible stage, the males, for example, they got awful when 8 months, 9 months, you say, why? Some dogs, well, the great ones, they never get horrible.
They never have a bad day.
Yes, but they don't look so great. So I try not to see them. Of course, then I do the X-rays at 12 months. So then I can say, okay. And with 12 months, 14 months, they come back again in anatomy. Maybe they need more like, the muscle and everything. The growth situation is not there yet, but the anatomy comes back with 14 months and everything. So I say to myself, okay, of course, I train all the time, even though they look not nice. I train them. I make a little bit of protection with them, obedience, so they don't get lost in a kennel. Because some people say, no, I won't train him because maybe he comes back from bad from the hips, for example, or bad in anatomy. No, you cannot forget about him. If you picked him as a puppy, you have to take care of him like he's the champion, like he's the world champion, and believe in what you picked when he was 6 weeks. So that's how I do it.
Mm-hmm. And do you have, just on the point of with the males, how they go through that real lovely duckling stage, and they look like giraffes at one point. But with the females, is it a different assessment criteria for them, or do you judge them both the same, despite the fact males can tend to off the boil?
I pick them the same. Pick them the same, but the males have to have this. This extra, because if I want to keep a male, he has to be really outstanding in the litter, because it's so difficult. With the females, it comes easily sometimes that the females are like you've seen in the shows. The quality in the females is like they're all very nice from the first, from the last, and in males it's different. So when I decide to keep a male, I say, okay, he has to be really outstanding. So that was the story with my most winning male. I was not keeping a male from that litter. I was looking for a female, and when I saw him, I said to myself, I cannot sell him. I will wait. And now he's the number one dog that I've bred. So, but with the males, yes, you have to be more like patient in the changes of the body. With the females, they don't change a lot, really not.
Yeah, they're more a complete picture from the beginning. Yes. Throughout their development stages, I suppose, what would be your top advice? Because I'm conscious, again, newer people in the breed might be watching this, to make sure that your puppies are nutritionally fulfilled and psychologically enriched. How do you make sure your puppies have healthy tummies, happy minds throughout the whole process?
Okay. Well, when I decide to keep a puppy, well, of course, you cannot keep every puppy. So I try to give advice to the people that get puppies from me in terms of nutrition, in terms of the time you have to give to that puppy. Normally, my puppies go to a very nice homes. I try to look very, very cautiously where he goes to, because I like them to have a nice life,
Yeah.
So sometimes I ask to the buyers, please send me picture of your garden, send me pictures of your home, so I can be assured that the puppy is gonna be in good hands. But the puppies that I keep, okay, I never, how do you say? I give the best puppy dog food that I can get. Yeah. I never, for me, it's not negotiable to be like, oh, this is a cheaper one. No, for me, I try to give the best, because it's the nutritional thing. The best thing that you could give them is the growth for the future for the puppy, So I give the very best that I can in terms of the puppy dog food, or the glucosamine and everything that I know that could help them. I tried not to get them overweight. I always have them in a good weight, and the mind of the puppy for me is the very most important thing when you keep a puppy. I start putting them inside the house when they're like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. In fact, that's one of the things that I look when I pick a puppy, that he comes inside the house and he's like, okay, I own the place, That's one thing that really, really interests me when you have a puppy, like he's very secure of himself, and that lasts for his whole life. Sometimes you have a very nice puppy, but he's so scared to go inside and change of the environment. So there I think about of keeping him or not. So the puppies that I decide to keep, they come inside the house every night with the family. We call them, we make like this attach with the puppies. that you cannot imagine. But I have a guy that helps me at the kennel. I have 20 dogs. So I
Yeah.
cannot be all the time with the dogs.
Yeah.
But when I keep a puppy, I put them inside the house, and we make this bonding with this puppy that is so strong that even though now, for example, okay, they're puppies and then they go to the kennel, and the guy that helps me feeds them every day, but they don't forget me. The one that has to call them in double handling is me, because they prefer to go to me. But I don't know how they managed not to forget this first weeks that you have this attachment to them. So I think it's very important, the first months or the first weeks that you spend with the puppy. So I tried to have this bonding with them, put them in different situations, and that's the way I handle that they come mindly, in their mind, they come good, and in the nutrition also. Mm-hmm.
And on that point with getting the puppy bonded with you, there's been a lot of, I suppose, talk on this. When it comes to the puppy's temperament, the influences of the mother in particular in the litter. There's been studies. I know in France there was a monastery that they did examples of where some puppies were kept with their mothers a little bit longer than others, and that had influences on the temperament. Do you feel the bitch's temperament ends up being a mirror of the puppies? And if so, is there particular ages you start to separate them a little bit more and more to get that intense attachment to you?
Well, I've heard that from a lot of breeders. They say yes, or not only the breeders, the buyers. They ask
Yeah.
to you, "How is the mother still with them because they need the mother?" I will have to say honestly, no. At 5 weeks, my puppies get dry food. The female comes between the 5 and 6 weeks. I take the female away. Why is that? Because she hurt the puppies. She when they want to drink milk and maybe she doesn't have any more, or she got bite from the puppies, she is very hard on the puppies. And I've seen it's like contrary to what you think. It's not good for the puppies that the mom hits them. So I try to not stress my female. I take care of them. I bring her just to get the rest of the milk away, like put her there and then away. For me, I think maybe that's why the puppies get so attached to me. Could be. But I mean, the whole 5 weeks, they are always with the mother, so they get this temperament, and even in the belly, they get the temperament of the mother. So you don't need to stress your female with the puppies so long. There are people that say, "Oh, she's still with the puppies with 9 weeks or 8 weeks, and she's like in a bad situation." The poor female. Sometimes you have your best show female, and she got all stressed out. My females, they get like, you don't think that they got puppies when when they get away from the puppies, because I try to take care of them also mentally, because they got crazy with the puppies sometimes.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Like nothing looks more relieved than a German Shepherd female that gets let out of the whelping pen after 5 or 6 weeks. They run
Yes,
and they
sometimes
don't
they
come
don't
back.
want to go. Sometimes it's like really painful for them to have the puppy sucking, soaking, and wanting more
Yeah.
milk. And she's like, I try to not to stress the females. In that way, they don't bite the puppies. But they get angry to the puppies sometimes. And yes, it's scary sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They certainly discipline their litters, but I mean, it's very clear that what you do is works very well because as a breeder, you've had some phenomenal success over the years. I mean, even just this year with Falco and Faith, and there's been numerous Segerine titles in Argentina and VA positions. I'm curious, as a breeder, what's been your proudest moment to date with your dogs?
It's very hard to answer that, because in my whole career in breeding, it's a long time being there. There must be, every time I have like a moment to remember that I was like, wow, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm always wishing for more. That's the good thing about breeding, that you can always get better, and better the dogs that you have. But I would say, well, for me, well, I don't know, maybe it could be Falco and Fate. It's not easy to breed two siblings that are so successful. They were bred in the pandemic time, And I think that's why also they were so special to us, to the whole family, because we were the whole time with them. It was
Yeah.
my only litter at that time, and I was only 3 puppies. The other female, I sold her because she was not the female that I wanted. So I sold her and I kept the 2 brothers. As I said to you, I was planning on keeping Fate, not Falco. But when I saw Falco, I said, no, I'm gonna wait. He's too gorgeous. And I had the time, in the pandemic. So and he never got ugly. He never got ugly. And I said to myself, no, I'm gonna keep him. I wasn't looking for a male, so I kept him. And the most wonderful thing is that they won the VA1 title together in the same Seeger show. And that was, at the time, I thought that was awesome. And then we went to Coapa show. So you want to be successful normally in your country at first, in
Yeah.
your country. Okay, what's next? I mean, it's a dream come true. 2 siblings, VA1 male, VA1 female. And we did this as a family. That's the most
Yes.
wonderful thing, because my son was my handler of the both of them. So we said to ourselves, okay, let's go to Coapa show with both of them. Okay, let's go. Okay, and then we trained and trained every time he could have the time because he was in the university. So we went to Coapa and he won the Coapa champion title, Falco and Fate VA. So both of them did a VA, and Falco did the VA Coapa champion. So and in the hands of my son. That is really, we were like a team. That was really, really great. The Coapa before of that, from Costa Rica, that was in Mexico, I made a mistake in the out of leash. So the dog was called VA2. Don Di Casacaputi was first. Falco
Yes.
was second. So I was so happy because I know Don is an amazing dog and VU5 in the World Championship. So I said, that's my place. I'm happy with the VA2. But he got it was his first time in the adult classes.
Yes.
And he went away in the off leash, the last meters. And the judge was very strict, and he said to me, sorry, you lost 2 places. So he made VA, of course, but not the VA2. So I was like punishing myself for my mistake. And I said to my son, we will do it next time and we will do it better. And that's how we won the Coapa show, and he did it beautifully. And well, that was, I think, the most wonderful moment at the time that I had with my son and my family. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And your son knows you kept your promise. You did it.
Yes. He said to me, yes, Mama, you did it. That was important for me also as a mom.
Absolutely. And Gabriel, there's been a lot online that we've seen, obviously, from the Coapa events. I mean, and there's been a lot of conflict, the passion of South American breeders. And the high levels of attention and care that they give the sport and their kennels. What do you think drives that? What do you think fuels that?
Well, Latin American people are always more passionate than the rest, I think. That's the passion is one key ingredient in showing dogs, in the endurance. You have to have passion, otherwise you cannot endure this hobby. It's difficult. If you've been breeding and showing for a long time, you need the passion in order to get the strength, because the situations sometimes are not what you wish. And I think that's and the other thing is that, well, we speak the same language, almost all the American people, and we have a great unity. I think the Coapa Confederation is something really nice, and we feel all like a family, like a big family. Of course, we have our president Roberto is a leader, total leader. So I think that's the key of the success of Coapa. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And obviously what makes it is so many talented breeders like yourself as well. And funny you mentioned Roberto, because I remember when I did the podcast with him, he felt that the secret to being a good judge is being a good breeder. And as a judge that has traveled the world and seen dogs from across the world, how do you feel the overall standard of dogs being presented now as a breeder and a judge compares to maybe when you first started judging? Are we going in the right direction? Are we going maybe in the not so right direction? Are there certain things you think have changed for the better, changed for the worse? What's your sort of commentary on the state of play now?
Well, right now, I think we're getting back to the right path because we lost the way, with the exaggerations, with the trying to get the more powerful dogs and more exaggerated virtues in the dog. And we lost a little bit of the track. Now I think they are conscious in all the breeders. They're worried about the situation that happened in our breed, that it was a little bit extreme. But I think in all breeds, not only in our breed, but our breed is more satanized than other ones.
Yeah.
But yes, I think we're getting back to that direction, and it's very important that we, the judges, place the right dogs in front, because if the breeders are listening the whole day, yes, not overangulations, no exaggerations, no hypertype, okay, they try to breed that kind of dog, and then you come as a judge and put in front the dogs that have these faults. It's very confusing to the breeder. So in order to get together in the same mind of things, I think judges have a very high responsibility when we're judging, and try to apply what we are taught and what we are trying also to breed. We have to be conscious that when a breeder is doing a good job, to place his dog in a right position.
Yeah, absolutely. And are there any sort of trends now developing in the breed that you feel are positive, or you feel there any that might be negative? And obviously we mentioned overangulation, which I think certainly from this year's Seeger show, and I was lucky enough to go myself, I think it's definitely getting more under control in comparison to a few years ago. Is there any other trends that you're seeing as a breeder, excite you with the dogs, or maybe would be cause for concern?
Well, it excites me that, yes, we're asking for a middle-sized dog, right?
Yeah.
And it got, sometimes some years ago, it got so that you wanted to breed a middle-sized male and he looked like a female. So that was kind of an issue that the breeders didn't get it right. Right now, I've been judging around the world, and I've been seeing that maybe we are getting to that. I've been seeing dogs that are middle size but masculine. They don't look like a female. Masculine in very good proportions, the structure perfect. I get amazed sometimes when I go judging, and I really enjoy it, because I really know how difficult it is to get a super dog, and I really applaud the breeders when they have them and they show it to me. So I really go and say everything I feel when I see such a dog. I think we're getting to the way that we want it, and the thing with the overangulation, you cannot kill this situation from that one day to another. But we have been fighting against that a long time ago. I think now, if all the judges and all the breeders get it straight and really not eliminate, but put the overangulation in the back, we're gonna go to the right path. I think we're getting there. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And judging and overangulation, it sort of stirs up a lot of, I suppose, emotions in German Shepherd people, but also in the wider dog show community. And that's something that you've had a passion for a long time with as well. You've obviously bred and competed in both spheres. I suppose, what's that experience been like for you? Because it is quite a unique one for German Shepherds. We're usually very much a breed-specific group, or we're all breeds. There doesn't seem to be many kennels that go between the two.
Well, if you've seen my Facebook and all my history, I've been in both worlds, And for me, it's really exciting to have the opportunity to show a good German Shepherd in both fields, and say to the judges and to the public, the same dog that wins a Seeger show can also be the dog of the year of all breed show. For example, Falco. That's what I tried to do with him. I got lucky because, in all breed shows, sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's continuity to be showing sometimes you have the right judges, sometimes not. If for example, it comes an American judge, they don't get the German line very well, so they don't place you very high, but they don't kill you, because they see it's correct is correct in every type of German Shepherd. You have a correct dog in the German type or in the American type. So if you put yourself out there in these shows with a correct German Shepherd, you will be successful. And it's a matter of handling, as we were talking before we started the interview. You have to know how to show these dogs in that kind of competition. and to show the Albrecht judge that a real good German Shepherd could be successful in both rings. And I've been having success in Albrecht shows. I've had multi best in shows, and it's very, very nice because you see people say, no, those judges, they don't know, they don't praise our breed very high. But you can see when I post a picture that our dog won best in show, the whole German Shepherd community in my Facebook, they cheer and they're happy because it's recognized. Our breed is recognized. So I think our dog has to be in every field, in every show. Agility. We always say that German Shepherds are for every activity. Their versatility is amazing, so we have to do it. Not just say, "Oh, our breed is versatile." Yes, you have to prove it. You have to take this dog in different situations so that people can see it's really a multifacetical dog, you know.
Absolutely. And as someone who has such a global perspective, as a judge, as a breeder, and then obviously looking at the show world in its entirety from across the world, I'm curious, are there any other breeders globally that have particular sources of inspiration for you, or other breeders that you admire? Or is there any particular dogs you've seen from other kennels over the years that have, really encapsulated for you what the vision of a German Shepherd should be?
Of course, you have to have an inspiration, you know, a goal, and of course, for example, at first I just wanted to be successful in my country, you know.
Yeah.
Well, then I got it. Okay, I got it, and then I said, okay, Coapa, let's go to Coapa and let's try. But you're never alone in this thing. You have to be open and being so humble to know that you don't know everything, and you never do. So I try to take like example for very successful breeders. Not only that they win a Siegerschau or VA1 and then never breed another dog in their lives again, but sometimes you have luck. You breed one dog and he's VA1. Wow, amazing. No, the success that this breeder has in the time, continuously being successful, having a specific, kind of dogs in the show and successful over the time. That's from the judges and also breeders that I take inspiration from. Of course, I always try to look myself and in that position and try to say, okay, how did he do it? Which dogs did he use? What's the recipe, you know? And if I get the chance, I ask them. I ask for advice when I don't know how to do it or what I'm doing wrong, and I ask for advice. It's something very, very nice to do, and you never stop learning, you know.
Absolutely. And as somebody who has been that consistently successful, I mean, I could be here all night listening at your achievements across the Coapa and across Guatemala. I suppose I'm curious, do you have any unfulfilled ambitions left in German Shepherds? I mean, yeah. What's next for Bellahausen?
Oh my God. I mean, yes, I would love to have a dog with my kennel name in a Siegerschau, in a German Siegerschau, having a good placement, you know. And I'm not saying winning, of course, that'll be like I could die in that moment. But having a dog that the people say, you know, the breeders say, very nice dog. In the first 20, first 30 placements, you know, to be able to have a dog competing there with all the difficulties that there is. For example, for me, that I live in Guatemala, you know, so far away from Europe, with so many blocking situations for us to go mate with the male that maybe I want. With my restricted budget and everything, I would love to be able, and I'm working on it, to have the dog that could be there and make a good placement. And I could be proud of say I have a Bellahausen in a Siegerschau. That'll be for me really my dream.
I think if ever there was a breeder to do it, it would be you, Gabriela, definitely.
Yeah. I hope I have the life. That I'm not so old when I get it, that I could be able to call my dog in the ring, because that's another thing. I love to be a part of everything. So my wish is that I could do it and be part of it, not just send a dog to somebody that they do it for me. No, I would love to be involved in the process, even though I have to go to Germany and stuff, you know, and it'll be great to do it with my family together, with my son or my husband. That'll be really a great thing. Yes.
Absolutely. And on this point, Gabriella, because obviously there are certain parts of the German Shepherd community, just purely on geographics, where they are in the world, where it might be a little bit difficult for them to get access to potentially the dogs they want to get access to. You mentioned obviously yourself, if you want to use a dog in Germany, there's so many
Yeah,
hoops to go through. And
yeah.
unfortunately, things like AI, which are quite common in other breeds and in other dog show worlds, is still not quite there with German Shepherds yet. So for breeders that find themselves in countries maybe that are at the beginnings of their scene or they're still developing and maybe the quality of dog is not so high, what's your advice to those breeders who want to do right by their dogs, right by their kennel, right by the breed in their country? How do they make sure they constantly breed and improve on the quality of their dogs?
Well, first of all, we're so far away. Like I said, I try, if I have my goal that I have to be competitive in Germany, I have to look the dogs or the mating partners for my females that have everything that is specifically need to go to compete in Germany. For example, I won't go to a dog that has no IGP, for example, or has no premium pedigree. And my female has to have it too, because in that moment when you have the litter and you have your star, wow, this is the puppy. What happens? It's heartbreaking if the female, but the mom, she doesn't comply all the requirements, so you cannot go to Germany. So it's better to breed thinking about that this litter is going to be the litter that leads you to your goal. So you have to try in the possibilities that you have. For example, if somebody brings a German male with everything, German codon, breed survey, and IGP, everything, use him. If that's what you have around, better than a national dog that doesn't have like just a VH.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thinking that you have to have if you want to go pursue this goal that I'm expressing that I have. So I try, for example, if it's some very good dogs from Germany comes to America, okay, try to look the dog, look the pedigree, look that he fulfills all the needs or requirements that Germany needs in order that the puppy can go there, and then I go and use him if I like him. And if I don't have the budget to go to Germany every time I want because it's so different and there's no artificial insemination, I cannot bring the sperm to my female. So I have to work with what I have in order to get that goal. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's like I remember seeing a seminar that Walter Martin did back in the States back in the 80s. I remember seeing the recording and he said for him it's about, breeding, bringing your female to the best possible male available. And that might not necessarily be just type on type, as you say. It might be because he has IGP or he has, Core Young and
yes.
As well. So for breeders,
yes, and the quality. I mean, he has to have the quality, but sometimes people bring these dogs that fulfill all the requirements, but they have no quality. I don't use them. I mean, they have to have everything. And there's really possibilities in the dogs that are brought here to America and that you can choose. Yes.
Absolutely. And in terms of, I suppose, going forward and looking back as well, what has this sport meant to you on a personal level? What has it brought you over the years? And what does it continue to do for you that still makes you so clearly very passionate about it?
Well, I would have to say it's my whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, the 24 hours I'm involved with dogs. Some of my friends said to me, "You're all German Shepherd in your head. There's nothing else in your head than German Shepherds." Well, it's a passion, and I'm thrilled to be able to do it because not everybody has sometimes the luck of doing what you love every day and involving your family. And it gives you also the opportunity to meet people around the world that have the same passion and the same love for the German Shepherd or for the all breeds. Also, I have a lot of friends from the all breeds community, and it opens more your circle of friendship than I've ever imagined because I've known people from around the world because of the sport, because of this hobby. It really is very fulfilling for me. It's I would say my whole life I've dedicated to German Shepherd. And I try always to give something back to the community. For example, in my country, I'm the breed warden in my country, and I try the more than I can to give the knowledge that I've been having in these years to the new breeders, so they can skip all the faults or the problems that I had. I said, don't do that. It's not the good way, and try to give advice how to breed a litter in a good, to breed healthy litters. I always give advices. I like to do that because there's nothing more. It's happy for me when I get these breeders for the first time. They come with the first litter, and they've been asking for advices, and I give them to them, and then come with these puppies, so beautiful puppies, well fed, and healthy puppies. And that makes me happy because I say to myself, okay, I'm helping him to be a good breeder, and that's something that for me is very, very nice. Yeah.
And on that point, as a closing out question to this interview, and I feel like we've all gotten so much knowledge out of it, but on the point of advice for first-time breeder, for first-time exhibitor, for first-time person to German Shepherds, what would be your golden pieces of advice for them as they start this crazy journey that is showing?
Yes. First of all, as you said, I have to tell them very honestly that it's crazy. It's really, it's something that goes into your blood, and if you like it, it's forever. So what I say to them, you have to have the passion, the passion, because the passion, as I said, give you the strength to endure this hobby, because it's not an easy hobby. There are lives. Sometimes there are moments that it's heartbreaking. There are lives or dogs. Sometimes you have your dreams in this dog, and maybe he comes with problems, health issues, or you have this leader that you put all your hopes in it, and they die, the puppies, and it's very heartbreaking. Our hobby is very difficult, so you have to have the passion, and that gives you the strength. And other thing that I say to them, go and get advice from the greater breeders, the people that have success, and listen to advice, ask questions all the time. You have to ask and ask, and that in that matter you can have a little easier path in this hobby if you ask for advice. Don't think you know everything, because you never do.
Yeah. Absolutely, and make sure you watch this podcast as well.
Yes. I hope. Well, there are more aficionados in our breed. I love all the breeds. I love dogs in general, but I think our breed is the most amazing breed that we have, and we have to take care of it. It's really sad when you see people going in the wrong path and breeding the wrong kind of German Shepherds. So I think if we help each other to build this community stronger like it was before, but it got a little bit out of hand, and now I think we're going back. And I'm always very happy to say that I belong to this community in a breed that I think is the number one breed in the world, because it is so strong, and we all see the dogs the same and share the same passion. So I hope really that more aficionados go and say, I want a German Shepherd.
Absolutely, and this community, quite frankly, Gabriela, is very lucky to have you as a member as well, for all that you do, both at home and abroad. And I want to thank you very much for giving me your time this evening and taking part in this series. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you, really, because I'm flattered, because I come from a very small country. Really, I have to tell you, I've been watching your interviews. You interview so amazing breeders and judges and people from around the world that have had amazing success. I don't see myself so successful yet. So thank you for taking your eyes in my breeding program and my dogs, and thank you for the interview.
Really. Oh, thank you. From one small country to another. Thank you. And thank you. Thank you, Gabriela. And thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been a pleasure bringing you this evening, Breeding the GSD with Gabriela Labbe. My name is Martin Kelly, and it's been with GSD Global Media. Thanks very much, guys, and we'll be back very soon with another episode. Take care.